Hello, everyone. Welcome to 360 Degrees Excellence, where we believe everyone can achieve all-round success. Today, I'm going to be having a conversation with Mr. Roderick Daddey-Adjei, and we're going to be talking about promoting a culture of food safety in Africa. I'm really excited about this topic because food safety is one of my research interests. Also, I believe that food safety should be a priority in Africa, which is not the case at the moment. I mean, about 2 years ago, I started Food Safety Africa to try and promote the culture of food safety in Africa. It was that year that 200 people died in South Africa after they held polony that was contaminated with Listeria. It was the worst outbreak of listeriosis recorded in history. I was in Salt Lake City in the United States of America, attending food safety conference by International Association for Food Protection in, I think, July 2018. It just occurred to me that, you know, I know a lot as far as food safety is concerned, and food safety is also my area of research, that I have a responsibility to start that organization. And today I'm so happy that I have Mr. Roderick, that his organization is really serious about food safety. I've been following what they do in Ghana, and I'm excited about what they are doing in the area of food safety. And today we're going to be talking about how we can promote food safety in Africa. And we're also going to talk about other issues. Without wasting time, let's just get started. So the first question I'm going to be asking today is from our guest, Mr. Roderick. The viewers would like to know you. Who is Mr. Roderick? Can you just tell us about yourself?
Thank you very much for the opportunity to be talking to you. It's a great opportunity. And on behalf of my Chief Executive, Mrs. Delis Darko, who is the Chief Executive of the Food and Drugs Authority in Ghana, we want to say good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where you are tuned in the world. So I think you want to know a little about myself. Well, I'm a public servant. I've worked in the area of food safety for about 24 and a half years. Food safety is very important, to me, and I think it's something that has been inculcated all through the years. I guess you want to hear more exciting things, not so much about myself. I've worked with the Food Inspectorate of the Food and Drugs Authority. I've worked with the post-market surveillance. I've, by God's grace, been able to open a number of departments as assisted by my chief executive. And so I'll just keep it short. I'm sure you want to hear more exciting things than this.
Thank you so much, Mr. Roderick, for telling us about yourself and what you've been doing since you joined FDA Ghana. Can you just tell us what FDA Ghana is doing to protect the public?
Wow, that's a big question. And actually, that's the mandate of the Food and Drugs Authority Ghana. We are an institution set up by government. So let's say you hear about FDA US. So we are the FDA Ghana, where we take care of the health issues. Actually, our issues crosses from food all the way to drugs. So the Food and Drugs Authority is the national institution that is to ensure the quality and the safety and the efficacy, the wholesomeness of products from registration, through inspections, through licensing, surveillance, clinical trials, that's for drugs, that they are in conformity with applicable national and international standards and to meet customer satisfaction. So in short, that's basically what we are about. And how do we protect the let's say, consumer or our stakeholders. We do that through the various departments. The departments that have been set in such a way, that they place safety, in various ways. So we have what we call the FERD, the Food Evaluation and Registration Department. So according to Section 97 of the Public Health Act, that sets up the Food and Drugs Authority, you cannot bring into the country, so you can't import or you can't export a food product. You cannot store it, you cannot distribute it if you have not registered it with the Food and Drugs Authority. Just like NAFDAC Nigeria, that product has to be registered before it comes into the country. And so the registration basically means you have to pick a form, you register the product, we take it to the lab, we test, we look at the manufacturing practices that have been built into the product, whether the people who are manufacturing the product have the right competence, whether the structures that you are using, whether they conform to good manufacturing practices and good hygienic practices. So in a nutshell, that is one way that we ensure that products that come into the country are safe, or that are locally manufactured are safe for use. So that's one way we guarantee safety. We also have what we call the Industrial Support Service, because we do know that with the various industries as they are, they may have capacity issues. They may not know exactly what to do, especially the small and medium scale enterprises. Because I believe, like in Nigeria or like in Ghana, a lot of the developing countries, a lot of people may want to go into the, manufacturing of food, for example, sachet water, but they need to have the requisite knowledge, because water is something that is consumed by so many people. And so we ensure that they have the right manufacturing practices in place before they let the product out. So we go and inspect. So the Industrial Support Service goes in to help them, goes to teach them. If you don't tell them what to do or you don't help them, then they can just manufacture anything, put it on the market, and then it adds to the health issues. Another way that we also ensure food safety in the country is through what we call our department, Agro Products and Biosafety Department. The agro products basically deal with raw agro produce and have a collaboration with the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. The Ministry of Food and Agriculture, by mandate, they are in charge of the production aspect. They produce the products, or farmers, what they do on the farm. They would come up with it, but immediately it is harvested and it becomes food. Then it becomes a food and drugs issue. It's a food issue because, from farm to fork, the processes that the product will go through, transportation, storage, distribution, they are all, let's say, steps that if you're not careful on how you handle the product, for example, aflatoxin, if you harvest the product, you don't keep it at the right temperature, you can get Aspergillus flavus, Aspergillus parasiticus, all growing in this, and what it can do to health. It's really a battle that I think Africa is battling with, the issue of aflatoxin, because of the issue of the temperatures with the high moisture levels that there may be. And so the agro products ensure that the supply chains, from farm to fork, there are guidelines that are in place. And so it's one of the things that presently our agro products and biosafety department is embarked on, where they have put together these guidelines, and they are at a point where they are going to meet, the stakeholders to verify, to do a validation of the document, because it's very important that when you come up with guidelines, you don't just sit in a corner and just handle it alone. You need to get your stakeholders involved for them to, understand what is happening. And the Bible says that, sorry, I have to digress a bit, that wisdom is a principal thing. So you must get wisdom, and you're getting wisdom, we must get understanding. So the understanding that we have is that we have to sit down with our stakeholders and jaw with them to understand these guidelines. So the agro products, they do this, it's all the way to the time the product, gets, people buy it and then send it to. We also guarantee safety to our stakeholders, Ghanaians, through our department we call Animal Products Department. And I think it's interesting that when you were talking, you did mention some time ago of, I think, some Listeria monocytogenes, that germ that came in. So this department deals with meat and meat products, fish, and so they look at the storage facilities where these products are kept, because it must be in conformance with our law, the Public Health Act, that any place where food is stored, it must be stored under good storage practices. It must comply, as well as if you bring the product into the country, we want to know where the meat is coming from. So you must get a permit from our vet, and then when it comes in, the Food and Drugs Authority are also at the port. So they would look at the meat that has come in, check whether you've got the necessary certificates to accompany, and then it is moved into a premises that is duly registered as law requires. So basically, these are some of the things. Then to also safeguard the health of persons, to check and make sure that food is safe for use. We also have what we call the Post-Market Surveillance Department. Their job basically is to ensure that job is to ensure that whatever is on the market is safe for use. So they make sure that the products that are on the market are safe. So for example, we randomly just pick products off the market without the knowledge of, let me say, the stakeholders, the importers, and then we test to be sure that as they have registered these products, whatever they are bringing in conforms. It's a risk management tool that we use to ensure that everything is okay.
Thank you so much. I like that. And I'm also sure that FDA Ghana protects the consumer by also using recall procedure. I'm sure sometimes you recall some products that may be contaminated or suspected of being contaminated with pathogens, or if they are having any hazard, maybe physical hazard or chemical hazards. So can you just tell us about your record trend in Ghana, and what are the hazards that have been implicated in records, in full records, in the last maybe 1 year, 2 years, that kind of a thing? Thank you.
All right, okay. Thank you. We've had a number of recalls, like as you're saying, generally we would recall if there's nothing else that one can do but to save the public. You would make the necessary announcements if it concerns some factor being in a food product that should not be there, that has got the potential to harm people. And so, like the trends that you're looking at, some of the issues have been microbiological based, and then some of them too have been more or less quality based. But maybe the issues are very important, are very dicey, and so you need to get the products out. I can recall the issue of what came from South Africa some time ago, the issue of Listeria monocytogenes that came in a product, polony. It's a type of sausage that we were fortunate that being part of the international body, we had information from InfoSan. We work closely with InfoSan. Actually, FDA, Food and Drugs Authority, Ghana, we have just a point here, a contact point here, where they do inform us that, maybe look out for this or look out for that as it's coming into the country. So that was one case where we had to, based on the batches of products that were affected, we had to take it out of the market. We were fortunate to have information where it was coming from, where it had gone to, the batches that were affected, and therefore did due diligence to make sure that we protected our stakeholders, the people of Ghana. So we got it out of the system. And we are grateful to InfoSan for that assistance that they gave. There are other issues that I can recall. Like I was telling you, we've got the department we call the food, the post, the market surveillance department. And, their job description basically threefold. They are supposed to do what we call product quality monitoring. That means they check on products, based on scientific reasons. We pick products from the market, and then we check. So in this particular case, we had the intelligence to work on tomatoes. Ghana really consumes a lot of tinned tomatoes. We import a lot into the country, and we had cause to believe that some of the manufacturers were short-changing us, and so we bought some of the products off the market, various brands. Actually, we got about 78 brands that we bought from the market, and we did test. And some people, in trying to cheat, they present the tomato paste to people like it's tomato paste. But if you look at the standard says that a tomato paste, you are not supposed to add anything to it. So what they were doing actually was to scoop some of the tomato paste out, add starch. And if you do add starch, then you are going to affect the color. And starch is not, you are not allowed to add starch to it. So they add starch so that it bulks up the product. Then, because the color changed, they added this color called erythrocin. Now, erythrocin, the red color, so that it makes it look like, the redness of tomatoes. No, but it's all, let's say, a bad practice that they were doing. And we bought products and were able to detect that a high percentage of them, as were being imported, were not of the standard that was supposed to be. In fact, what makes it even more critical is that, when you add starch as it is, for example, it's the right of the consumer to know that a product contains, whatever a product contains, you must declare it. But they did not declare it because we've got products like tomato mix where there are other ingredients that have been added, but they have been declared on the product. But this one, they did not declare it. And so you are trying to deceive the consumer. And you can just imagine if you have somebody, a diabetic, for example, who takes this product, thinking that he's not supposed to take so much of carbohydrate, you can imagine the harm that you're bringing to such a person, as well as also the issue of erythrocin. We say we don't want erythrocin added as it is because, erythrocin, the more that you ingest, the more that you take. We don't have empirical, let's say, records, data to back up what could happen to you. At a certain level, as a food color, you can use. But if one is exposed so much to it and you are letting someone take so much of it. You are not sure the health issue that will come up. If you look at even some animal studies that have been done, it has not been good results that have been obtained from the laboratory on feeding them with so much of that. And so we had to take these products off the market. So the issues of recall are real, and we would want to sound a caution out there to manufacturers that they should understand that they are dealing with the health of people. And so they should ensure that they give products as the standards and as requires. So I could go on and on and on if you want to hear more
Yeah, I
about,
know you. Yeah, I
recalls.
know you have a lot to say. Okay, thank you so much for your response. Very interesting response. Another question I want to ask you is about these FDA, US FDA, new era of smarter food safety. And they also just came up with a blueprint, on how they are going to implement it. I guess you've heard about the new era of smarter food safety. What do you think about it? Is it something that can be implemented in Ghana?
Well, as I looked at it, it's not something that we as a country, have, let me say, taken it on as at yet. Sometimes some of these, it takes time, and is the system that sophisticated to be able to handle some of these things. But I remember, I think one of the things that we have done is to ensure that there's transparency in whatever we do. At least some of the, should I say, foundations that they are building the system on is also something that we are trying, to do. Sometimes, technology takes a while, and sometimes, people also have to understand the issues of food safety. Basically, I think the understanding of food safety issues outside is a bit different on this side of the world, because some of the challenges we have is more food security based. And so people are hungry, they want something to eat. And so sometimes thinking about how safe the product is. So in short, we haven't really gone much into it. It's an approach that I believe is worth considering for the future. As you said, the thing is smart, but do you have the systems in place? It's another thing, yes.
Thank you so much for your response. And you mentioned something the other time that in Africa, people are thinking about food security. People are thinking about what to eat. Nobody's really thinking about safety at the moment. And that's the challenge we have in Africa. But the truth of the matter is that we are affected most by food safety. WHO really came up with a report about, the burden of food safety in the world, and that 1 in 10 people have foodborne illnesses in the world, and majority of that happen in Africa because of our food safety system that is very, very weak. So it's very, very important for us to make food safety a priority, which is not the case at the moment. And that's why, like I said the other time, I'm happy about this interview. So the question I want to ask is that how can we promote a culture of food safety in Africa? Because we just have to do it.
We just have to do it. Yes, look, you are right. And that's why for Food and Drugs Authority Ghana, education is the thing that for us is so important. We educating. For example, as I'm just even talking to you, a lot of our officers are out there. We are working with artisanal oil, palm oil, manufacturers, right down to the farm level. We go visit them. We let them understand what they are doing. They just can't use some of the African traditional methods for preparing food, which we've done over a long time. there needs to be a change in how we do it. So we are educating, and we just keep on doing that. We make sure we have, as part of what we call our food safety management department. I didn't talk about them. They deal with street food with the local government. They deal with street food. They deal with the food vendors. It's not an easy task at all, because the everyday Joe, everyday man, is thinking. He thinks that, okay, there are certain classes of persons. Those who can afford it, they go to the restaurants and they can have a chic time. For them, they want something for body and soul. But we educate them with, by going to the various transport, the lorry stations. We have our loudspeakers. We speak to the market women, where people go and buy their local stuff, and let them understand the food safety issues, the basic hygiene they should keep, the need to use potable water. It's very crucial. At least we say what they sell to the public, they should make sure that at least it's on the table. I mean, it would be a great thing if many of our markets will just even sell on tabletops, because it will not be on the ground. Because when it comes to agro produce, people think because you harvest it, maybe your tuber of yam from the farm, the ground, you could still leave it lying there. But there are hazards that could find their way into the product. So this kind of education we keep on doing.
Okay.
Yes.
Roderick is on Zoom, so I'm just.
Oh, okay. Hello. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I thought someone was trying to ask a question. Yes. So like I'm saying, the education is what we keep doing over and over. It's not an easy task, but I can say over the years, under our dynamic leader, Mrs. Dako, things have been, great. She's really pushed us. Our chief executive is a woman, so I said, "Yay for the women!" I mean, woman power, and she's a great leader, and it's really, helping us do what we have to do. So more education and education and education.
Thank you so much. I like that. The importance of education cannot be overemphasized. Another thing that is also important is regulatory inspection, which I realized that in some countries it's not taken seriously. Regulatory inspection is another thing that can be done to promote a culture of food safety in Africa.
I think some people have to mute their mics.
Yeah, Ato, please can you mute your mic? Ato Toxin, please mute your mic. Okay, thank you. Okay, like I said the other time, you've really spoken about the importance of education is very, very important. And like I also mentioned the case of regulatory inspection. And I'm sure that FDA Ghana is really serious about regulatory inspection. Checking out what manufacturers are doing. Like you mentioned the case of palm oil, producer, and what you do from farm to fork is very, very important. For us to promote food safety culture in Africa. Okay, I also want to ask you this question: how important is collaboration in improving food safety?
Hey, collaboration. I don't know. For me, I think that for me now, especially this year, 2020, it's been one of the most important points for my chief executive, who is giving us direction, and also, for myself. Stakeholders, working with them is very, very important. Stakeholders of various kinds. And I think FDA, we have been privileged to have various stakeholders who have assisted us, over the years and keep on doing. Locally, for example, one of the things we are trying to strengthen is to work with our local government. sometimes regulatory bodies, sometimes, want to keep their hands on everything. But you see, food safety is everybody's business. And so sometimes at the local level, you find that they are doing their own thing, and then the regulatory body is also doing its own thing. But now we are joining arms. We are doing what we call joint inspections. Actually, this was something that we are working on, and unfortunately, COVID, broke out as it is. But we are just about again to start that initiative that we have with our local government. And then also internationally too, we have stakeholders that we work with. Every year, so many international stakeholders. For example, with us, there's this group, Selamat. Selamat is an important food safety network group that you yourself, myself, has helped a lot in educating, over the world, sponsored by the Netherlands government. And even still with that, with the Netherlands government, as I'm describing even now, today we had, it's sad. I say that sometimes some of the challenges that we keep on seeing, even in our side of the world, it's not that we don't grow enough food, but still the same old problem of storage. We need to have storage facilities. Post-harvest losses are really a big problem. Then you have this army worm now coming in to even eat your food. So we've got to store products. I say in the Bible, if Joseph in the Bible in those days, how many prehistoric times they could even store food for 7 years and then give it to their people after 7 years. They were able to store it. There must be some local technology that all of us should be able to employ if we put our hearts and our minds to it. So let's believe in ourselves, Africa. Let's believe in Ghana. Let's believe in Nigeria. Let's believe in South Africa. Let's believe in ourselves. Let's believe and then learn the good things that the West has shown, the Chinese have shown, and then let's progress with it.
Thank you so much. I just want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to do this interview with me. I'm sure that a lot of people have been blessed. They've learned a lot from what you have shared with us. Thank you so much. I just want to say that that even though food safety is not a priority in Africa, things are changing. We have the middle class that is growing. They want food of high quality, and other factors that are also making food safety to be becoming relevant is you have the multinationals that are also in Africa. You have Africans that want to export food to maybe Europe or United States of America, or also the impact of social media. A lot of consumers are now empowered. You can share with the world what you don't like in your food. So food safety is becoming relevant. So we should be hopeful that things will be getting better in Africa. And like Mr. Roderick said, food safety is everyone's responsibility. We must never forget that. And another thing that I want to say is this: if it's not safe, it's not food. So we must make our food to be safe. And it's also very, very important for us to think about what we eat. We should reduce what we eat. We should reduce the portion of our food. We should reduce, the pot belly, that kind of a thing. And we should eat we should eat healthy. We should eat a lot of vegetables and fruits. I hope you've been blessed today. I hope you've learned one or two things today. See you next time. God bless you.